Welcome to this week's roundup of key business developments in Sri Lanka. I'm Nishani Pigera, and here are this week's top stories. GSP Plus extended till 2027. Sri Lanka strengthens ties with the UAE. And tourist arrivals continue to surge. In our main story this week, Sri Lanka will continue to enjoy duty-free access to the European Union markets under the GSP Plus scheme until 2027, following an official extension of the current program by the EU. GSP Plus reduces export tariffs to 0% for vulnerable, low and lower middle income countries that implement 27 international conventions related to labor and human rights, environmental and climate protection, and good governance. The Department of Commerce confirmed that Sri Lanka remains in full compliance with the GSP Plus requirements, including 5 additional international conventions proposed under the new framework for 2024 to 2034. The concessions cover over 2/3 of exports, a significant boost to the country's trade. On Tuesday, Sri Lanka welcomed a high-level delegation from the United Arab Emirates, led by Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. During talks with President Andukumara Desanayake and Minister Vijitha Herath, the UAE pledged to boost Sri Lanka's energy, tourism and investment sectors. The visit builds on the bilateral engagements which took place in February, with both sides committing to deeper economic cooperation. The UAE praised Sri Lanka's stable investment environment and ongoing reforms. A key outcome was the signing of an MOU establishing a UAE-Sri Lanka Joint Business Council to drive commercial collaboration and job creation. Merchandise exports in the first 3 months of the year reached a recent high of $3.3 billion, with service exports also increasing to $887 million. In March, exports were $1.2 billion, a 5.8% increase driven by higher apparel and textiles, which rose 11% to $496 million. Exports to the United States, Sri Lanka's single largest export destination, rose $275 million, up 14%, while trade to the European Union increased to $277 million. However, uncertainty remains on global trade over President Donald Trump's significant tariffs, which have been currently paused for 90 days. This week, gold prices soared to historic highs, both globally and in Sri Lanka, driven by rising US-China tensions and a weakening US dollar. Global gold touched a record of $3,500 per ounce, while in Sri Lanka, 22-carat gold surged to 255,000 rupees per pound and a 24-carat to 277,000, marking the steepest single-day increase in over a decade. Analysts point to investor flight to safe haven assets and amid market uncertainty. The National Gem and Jewellery Authority says continued volatility could push prices higher. In our weekly tourism update, in the first 20 days of April, Sri Lanka welcomed 123,945 tourists, bringing the total arrivals for 2025 to 846,221. With the end of the peak season, daily arrivals fell to 6,197. India, the United Kingdom and Russia are top source markets in April, with India leading at 24,776 visitors. Sri Lanka will not host Russian charter flights during the off-season due to diminished demand and a lack of summer promotions, according to the Association of Tour Operators of Russia. The suspension, effective until October, follows the early termination of Red Wings Airlines' winter charter program. The all-share price index at the Colombo Stock Exchange was mixed this week, with turnover averaging around 1 billion rupees. Capital Alliance Holdings Limited is set to go public with an initial public offering of 157.5 million ordinary voting shares, each priced at 10 rupees. The Colombo Stock Exchange has granted in-principle approval for the listing of the company's shares, which will be offered through a subscription scheduled to open on 8th May. At the Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yields on 91 and 182-day maturities increased. Bids amounting to 231 billion rupees were received, of which 96 billion were accepted. The Sri Lankan rupee was slightly depreciated against the US dollar this week, with the central bank's indicative mid-spot rate ranging around 299 rupees. And with that, we conclude our update for this week. For the latest on economic and business developments in Sri Lanka, do subscribe to our YouTube channel below. We'll be back next week with more insights. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Stay safe.